Welcome, everybody, to the Mind, Body, and Soul television show on Conscious Evolution Media Network. I'm your host, Coach Steve Toth, and also the founder of Conscious Evolution Media Network, now on internet television, cable television, and on PBS. We have a fantastic guest with us this afternoon. Her name is Lene St. And she is a transformational life coach. Welcome to the show, Lene. How are you?
I'm quite well. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I am happy that you're here too. So my first question, usually to all the guests, is if I took away all the titles that anybody has ever called you, and that includes a transformational life coach, who would Lene St. John really be?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is the fact that I am a spiritual being living a human existence.
Fantastic. And that sounds really good and polished. But please make it a little bit more simple to our viewers and explain to us, what do you mean by that?
Well, I believe that I am here for a purpose. I believe everyone is here for a purpose. Throughout my lifetime, I should have died 4 times, and I know that because I am still here, my purpose isn't done yet. So all the events in my life have led up to this time where I have chosen to become a life coach. I know that is my purpose. I know I'm here to help people.
Sounds fantastic. All right, so there must have been some things that has happened in your life, especially early on when you were a young child, a young girl. I'm finding that in a way, Conscious Evolution Media has become like a laboratory for consciousness. And I believe, and I have proven this thousands of times, that usually what we become later on in life and what we master, and it sounds like you have some fantastic mastery in terms of transforming your own life and helping others to do the same, that initially in our life, we usually challenged by the opposite of what we end up doing for a living, when we actually enjoy what we do and it doesn't seem like work, it seems like play. Would you be willing to share that with the viewers?
Sure. I should have died 4 times in my life already. The first time was I was a little girl, 6 years old. I was with my sister and my friend going to school after school, and we ran across the street. They ran first, and they kept telling me to run, and so I did, and I got hit by a car. I went 25 feet in the air and landed on the curb on the other side of the street. I didn't break a bone in my body, but I was in a coma. And when they took me to the hospital, the doctor had told my mother that I was going to die that night, that I wouldn't make it through the night. When I was in that coma, I had a near-death experience, and I knew that when I woke up, even though I was only 6 years old, I knew that I was supposed to be here to help people. And so that's what I've done throughout my life. For the most part, all those things that I have done have been volunteer things. They've not been things that I've been paid for to help people. But I feel more fulfilled and more whole when I'm helping people more than any other time in my life.
Well, talk a little more about challenges with our viewers, if you would.
Well, let's see. I grew up in a home of 5 kids. I was the oldest, and we lived in a 2-bedroom house. So that's a challenge with 1 bathroom and only 2 bedrooms for 5 kids. I became a life coach in high school. I got to be interviewed by the school board, and they asked me why I think I would be a good peer counselor to other students my age. And I told them, because I've been through a lot of stuff for such a young person, I gave them examples, and they said, okay. So I got to be a peer counselor when I was 17. And during those times, I started working at a chicken restaurant when I was 16, so that was my first job, McDonald's first, and then a chicken restaurant, both within the 16th year of my life. and the life coaching the peer counseling when I was 17. Um, During my grown-up years, my mom and dad had gotten divorced when I was a little girl. And when I was in school, I wasn't very popular. I was very shy and very introverted and didn't have a lot of friends. I also developed quite young, body-wise, and so everybody thought I was older than I was. That caused me a lot of trouble. I had situations where people literally took advantage of me, and I was scared, so I didn't know what to do. I let them take advantage of me, physically and sexually and things like that. So that was a rough period. When I graduated from high school, I didn't think I was smart enough to go to college, so I didn't go. And yet my dream after being in the car accident when I was in a coma as a little girl, my dream was to help people, and I knew that if I went to college, I could be a psychologist. That was my dream job, to be a psychologist. But I didn't go to school to college because I didn't think I was smart enough. So I met my future husband when I was 18, and I got married to him, and we had 2 sons. And when my sons were little, I ended up going to college, and I was on the dean's list. I got mostly A's and B's. So I proved to myself that I was way smarter than I thought I would be.
Gotcha. So, how did you overcome all these adversities that you experienced early on in your life?
Well, I believe the biggest influence in my life as a was my mom and my grandma. My mom is gone now, but she had taught me all my life that I could do whatever I wanted and that I was very special. And she taught me about God. And so when I was about 16, we started going to church on a regular basis. And I was impacted by the things I learned at that church. And when I became the peer counselor in high school, I also was impacted by the fact that I could do something awesome like that at such a young age with such a low self-esteem and such insecurity at that point. But throughout the years, all the things that I did as a volunteer for several different organizations helped me to become even stronger and even more self-empowered. And because of those experiences, I have tried to reach out and touch other people and teach them how to be self-empowered as well.
Gotcha. All right, so how do you do that actually? So what is the process? Do you use any specific tools or modalities in your practice that you help people? How do you start with someone like a new client?
Well, what I would do is most people come to me because they know that they have some intention, they have a purpose or an intention to make their life better. A lot of people don't know what their purpose is, for example, so they come to me and I teach them different techniques on how to find out through their own, it's not research, but to find out through themselves what their purpose is. For example, I would say, give me 3 things that you love to do the most. And they would tell me, and then I would say, okay, of those 3 things, what do you like to do the most out of those? And they would tell me. And that, when a person realizes that their major purpose in life is that specific thing, that 1 out of 3 things that they love the most, then we go from there. And I say, okay, what's stopping you from achieving that in your life or being that in your life? And we go through a process of meditation. We go through a process of journaling what things what fears and what issues are stopping them from becoming that specific life purpose for them. When we go through those steps, it's a continual thing. It doesn't happen in one session per se. But they write down things that are stopping them, their fears, their doubts, their insecurities, their money situation, whatever it is. They write those things down. And I take them through a process using, like I said, meditation. We do positive affirmations. I have them write down 25 positive things that they know and they believe about themselves, and also maybe 10 or 15 things that their friends or their family would say about them. And all the positivity and the affirmations and the meditations guide them to becoming who it is that they want to be in their life.
So in your experience, what's the main reason why people are stopped realizing their magnificence of who they are?
Well, I believe it's through their past experiences, the things that they were taught when they were growing up, peer pressure, statements from their friends, statements from their family that are negative, that don't build up their self-empowerment and their self-esteem. They keep those words from other people programmed into their head, and they hold on to those because that's, quote, all they know. So instead of letting those ideas go, they hold on to them and they start believing them. In my case, I had a whole bunch of negative stuff told to me throughout my lifetime, and yet I know in my deepest spirit that I am not that. I am the opposite of all those negative things I've been told. And so I chose to hang on to erasing those tapes and hanging on to the truth about who I am, which is an empowered, strong, confident, self-assured person.
Got you. So, in terms of so what I'm hearing in between the lines there is maybe it's fear, maybe it's taking on beliefs, mostly other people's beliefs. So how easy do you find that people give up their beliefs?
I have to be honest, it's not easy. It takes people quite a while to let go of those beliefs. It's not something that happens overnight because all those things that were taught to them were not taught to them overnight. So what I do is I use a lot of acronyms. I have a program that I'm doing called AHA Evolution, and it's a workshop seminar type thing where I teach people about acronyms. For example, FEAR stands for false expectations appearing real. There's another acronym, ANGER. ANGER stands for, again, not gaining an evolved resolution. There's another one that is, my goodness, my mind just went blank. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
So let's go back to the fear and the anger.
It happens to me all the time. All right.
Yeah.
So in terms of I kind of identified two things in between what you said. One is fear, and the other one is beliefs. So I just want to make sure that the viewers understand that if it has taken 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 years to create our lives the way it is today, meaning we have taken on all these beliefs, and hiring a coach is probably a great thing, because if we could have transformed ourselves by ourselves, we probably would have done it already. So getting some help is fantastic, but don't have the expectation that it's going to all be gone overnight, and we're going to get transformed overnight. I guess it's possible. I want to leave the door open that we could transform ourselves overnight, but that's going to be I think that's going to be. I mean, it didn't happen overnight for me, but it's. I find it to be a process.
Yeah.
Uh, is that how you find it to be?
Exactly. I was actually listening to Bob Proctor last night, and he was saying, he was snapping his fingers, and he said the minute you have that aha moment about the fact that you are an evolved and a conscious and a special and a worthwhile person, that literally takes a half a second. Because once it's the light bulb over your head, then everything starts falling into place. And yes, it is a process. But the minute that you get that idea that, yes, I'm valuable, yes, I'm worthwhile, yes, I have a purpose, immediately your mind shift changes. And then the process goes from there. And it helps you become even stronger, more empowered, and you bring into your life the things that you want to manifest that you had a purpose for all along. And that's what happened to me in my
Mm,
life.
mm. Got it. So, what about the fear part? How do
Fear
you,
parts. Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, how do you work with people so that, my experience of fear is the more conscious I become, and definitely I'm experiencing myself on a journey, and the more I'm on this journey, the less fear I have. I can't say that all of my fears are gone because they're not. They do come up time to time and raise their ugly head, um, but I'm experiencing them less and less.
Yeah.
How do you experience it?
The same exact way. I was born a quote worrier. I worried about everything, and I have
Yeah, and I would say the way
realized.
you I would say the way you compensate for that, Lene, is that you have also become a perfectionist. And
Yeah,
did you know that you over communicate and you worry too much about the details?
yes, I do, and I knew that. I
So
do. I
so
do.
how can I get you to walk your own talk? So go ahead and see you could coach yourself right now.
I could coach myself.
If you were
I
coaching a client like you, what would you have him do?
I would say you need to breathe a lot more. Deep breaths. Just relax. Know that no matter what happens, even mistakes are perfect because
Mhm.
they're part of getting you to be the highest you can be. And I know this. I am a lot less perfectionistic than I used to be, believe it or not.
Oh my God. You mean I'm getting
You're,
the watered down version?
you're getting the lighted version, not the darkened version.
Wow. Okay.
Trust me, everybody that knows me would tell you I'm way less perfectionistic than I used to be.
Gotcha. All right. So what else would you tell your client if you were your own client to do? Besides
Fear.
breathing, and what else did you say?
Um, oh, just about fear. So many people are attached to false expectations appearing real. And that's why
Okay.
I think,
So I'm with you on something very specific. Okay, because I think this will
okay,
benefit the viewers. Okay.
okay,
And please don't take it personally and don't feel
no,
being picked on.
no, not
It's
at
just
all.
I like to take things out of life as they occur,
Okay,
because we are teaching people on our network right now, from the present, how to be present. But
yes.
I'm going to give you an example, give the viewers an example. So Lene, before the show, has sent me an email with a list of, I don't know how many things about her life that she wanted to include in the show. And I completely disregarded it because, first of all, it was too late, and I would never include anything like that in a show. So I want you to share with the viewers what made you send that email to me. Like, really check in with yourself right now
Yeah,
and see if you
I
could
would.
share with the viewers what made you, first of all, write it and then send it to me. Who was that
It
person?
it was it was the little girl inside of me that thought I wasn't giving you enough information. It needed to be perfect, and I thought if I sent it to you last minute, it would be more perfect. And yet I know it wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. So so this is again, we're just doing this as an exercise. So thank you
Sure,
for
sure,
willing to do this,
sure.
because it takes something and takes somebody like you who's at that place now where you're willing to hear this.
Yeah.
But let's share with the viewers. So in the future, if this would happen, and I know I just said we like to be in the present moment, and yes, we do. But we want to kind of examine this a little bit. And so if this would happen in the future, where this come up, where you would be coming on a show, and 10 minutes before the show, you would want to send this to the host, what would you do in the future, knowing what you know now?
I would have sent it to you 2 months ago instead of 10 minutes ago.
Okay. But what about the fact that you didn't even need to send it?
Deep down, I know I did not need to send it. I know I did not need to send it, but I just thought, okay, if he takes one of those things off that paper,
Uh-huh.
that's cool. If not, I
Okay.
was totally okay with you not doing it as well.
Okay, got it. All right. So in the future, this is what I'm trying to get to. So you have already said, Lene, it's the little girl inside of you that made you write it and made you send it.
Yeah,
And I really appreciate that. So I want to connect the dots now. So what Lene is really saying is that momentarily she was disconnected. What was she disconnected from? What were you disconnected from, Lene?
my wholeness.
Correct. You were
Yes,
disconnected from who you really are, the
yes,
magnificent human being that you are, and you were back in your ego.
yes.
Because it's the only the ego is the one that worries about all these details, because the ego knows and wants to protect you from what?
From being put down or being laughed
Hmm.
at or not being good
Hmm.
enough.
Hmm.
And it's funny because the ego is edging God out, and that's one of the acronyms that I use to teach people.
Right.
Because when you edge God out, you're not being whole.
Yeah. So this is one of the most important message that I have for the viewers, and I like to bring in the life coaches into this conversation, because we all need to talk, or I mean, we all need to walk our own talk. Does
Yes,
that make sense, Lene?
yes, it does. Yes, it
So we
does.
need to be willing to be examples and leaders of this work, because this really requires something on everybody's part.
Yes,
None of this is going to transform all by itself. We need to put a shining light on it, and that's what we're doing right now.
yeah,
It's and the last thing I want to do, of course, is to put you down. This is not why I do it. I do it
yeah,
because it's an absolute jewel in terms of an example that we can
yes,
use from
yeah.
present life. I mean, this just happened, and it's the best way that I can think of providing value to our viewers and serving people that are watching, because it's a real example, and you were very authentic about it, and you were willing to be, and this is what it takes. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. Is that
Yes,
accurate?
yes, and I
Right.
totally am. I know that it's not, I don't take it personally at all. I know that it's not putting me down. I understand that I'm supposed to be an example to others, and I'm more than happy to be one. So I thank you for
Yeah.
the observation.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, the conscious half hour is already gone. We have 3 minutes left, Lene. So I want to give you the opportunity to share something about how people can get a hold of you. Um, if they are attracted to you and feel like they want to work with you, what information would you like to give out on the show here on the network to have them contact you?
I would be more than happy to talk to anybody that's watching this show. You can go to my website, which is www.truelifeunlimited.com. There is a link there to contact me, or you can reach me through my email there at Lene St. John at truelifeunlimited.com. My first name is French. It's spelled Lene, and then St. John, STJOHN, at truelifeunlimited.com. And I will definitely get back to you. I'd be more than happy to help you in any way I could.
Awesome, Lene. So how did you experience the show so far, this half hour?
I'm
What were your expectations and how did it turn out?
I didn't have any expectations. I just was willing to be and deal with whatever I had to deal with in the moment, and I'm thrilled. I'm really honored that you had that observation about me and that you put me in the spot because it's helping me. It's a benefit, and I really appreciate it.
All right, awesome. Well, I hope it's not only just benefit to you, although that's fantastic, but I more so would like to have it to be benefit for all of our viewers because we all do this. I have done what you just done
Right?
before, and we all do it. And I think I think what's important is that we are all open and continue to remain open because to me that's really the foundation of consciousness itself. Is
It's,
we're not closed. The
it's
minute we get closed, um, our ego takes over.
right. I totally agree.
So thank you very much, Lene. You were absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed this short few minutes because to me this is just like a couple of minutes. I could talk to you for forever.
Well, thank you. I'm really honored. Thank
Yeah.